Hey there, friend. Can't sleep? That's okay. You're not alone. Tonight we're going to drift through the ocean, not by boat, not by map, but through facts. 100 of them. Each one is slow, steady and boring, but each one is true. And each one is meant to guide your mind somewhere softer, somewhere calmer, somewhere blue. But before we begin, please take a moment to like and subscribe so you can find your way back here next time the night feels heavy. And let us know in the comments what time it is for you and where you're listening from. We love knowing who's drifting off with us all around the world. Now get comfy, dim the lights, let your breathing slow, and listen as we explore 100 facts about the ocean. 1. The ocean is Earth's largest and most dynamic feature, covering approximately 71% of the planet's surface. It holds around 1.35 billion cubic kilometers of water. That's over 97% of all water on Earth. But more than its size, it functions like the planet's thermostat, absorbing and redistributing heat through vast currents like the Gulf Stream. This moving heat shapes weather, controls rainfall, and buffers climate extremes. Without the ocean's circulation, much of the Earth would be uninhabitable. 2. The blue whale is the largest animal to have ever lived, not just on Earth today, but in all of Earth's history. An adult can reach lengths of over 100 feet and weigh as much as 180 metric tons. Its heart is the size of a small car, beating slowly, just 5 to 6 times per minute while at rest. And yet this gentle giant feeds almost exclusively on krill. Tiny shrimp-like creatures it filters in massive gulps, taking in nearly 4 tons a day during feeding season. When it sings, its low-frequency vocalizations can travel thousands of miles through water, making it the loudest animal in the ocean. 3. Bioluminescence is one of the ocean's most enchanting phenomena. Many deep-sea species, including jellyfish, squid, certain fish, and even plankton, can emit their own light. This glow comes from a chemical reaction between a light-emitting molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase. It serves many purposes. Some creatures use it to lure prey, others to communicate, and many as a defense mechanism, flashing suddenly to startle predators or vanish in a swirl of light. In some places, entire bays glow at night due to blooms of bioluminescent plankton, turning each wave and paddle stroke into a trail of underwater stars. 4. Point Nemo, located in the South Pacific Ocean, is known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It's over 2,688 kilometers, more than 1,400 nautical miles from the nearest land in any direction. Its coordinates are 48°52, 6 S123°23, 6 W, placing it within the South Pacific Gyre, an area so isolated that little marine life survives there. Because of its remoteness, it's often chosen as the spacecraft cemetery, a place where decommissioned satellites and space stations like Mir are guided to re-enter and crash safely into the sea. At any given time, the closest humans to Point Nemo may be astronauts orbiting hundreds of kilometers above Earth. 5. Sea turtles are among the oldest surviving vertebrates, having existed for more than 100 million years, long before mammals, birds, or even flowering plants appeared. There are 7 species alive today, each with unique traits. The leatherback, the largest of them, can grow over 2 meters long and weigh up to 900 kilograms. Unlike most reptiles, leatherbacks can regulate their body temperature using a system called gigantothermy, allowing them to dive deep into cold waters. Many sea turtles migrate thousands of miles across entire ocean basins, navigating with extraordinary precision, using Earth's magnetic field like a built-in GPS. When the time comes, female turtles return to the very beaches where they hatched, guided by instincts that still baffle scientists. 6. The Mariana Trench in the western Pacific Ocean is the deepest natural point on Earth. Its deepest location, known as Challenger Deep, reaches nearly 36,000 feet below the surface. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall, and down there, The pressure exceeds 1,000 times what we feel at sea level. Despite the crushing darkness, life persists. Tiny amphipods, microbes, and strange, ghostly fish drift through its cold, silent waters. Most of this realm remains unexplored. It is Earth's final inner frontier. 7. The octopus is one of the ocean's most intelligent and alien creatures. It has 3 hearts, 2 that send blood to the gills and 1 that circulates it through the body. When it swims, that main heart actually stops. Its blood is blue thanks to hemocyanin, a copper-based molecule better suited for cold, low-oxygen environments. And with a brain that extends through its arms, the octopus can taste, touch, and react with an eerie independence. Each limb is almost like its own mind, connected to a soft, shape-shifting body. 8. The ocean provides over half of the oxygen we breathe, thanks to microscopic organisms called phytoplankton. Floating near the surface, these tiny algae absorb sunlight and carbon dioxide, releasing oxygen in return. Together, they form the foundation of the marine food web and regulate the planet's atmosphere. When you inhale, there's a good chance part of that breath began in the sea. The ocean doesn't just sustain life, it quietly helps you live every single day. 9. Scattered across the seafloor are over 100,000 known seamounts, submerged mountains rising at least a kilometer from the ocean bottom. Most of them are extinct volcanoes shaped by ancient eruptions, their peaks never breaching the surface. These underwater giants form biodiversity hotspots, attracting deep-sea corals, fish, and migratory species. Because they interrupt ocean currents, they create upwellings that bring nutrients to the surface, nourishing life far above. Many remain unmapped, unexplored mountains in the dark. 10. In 1997, an unusual sound was recorded by NOAA hydrophones deep in the Pacific. It was loud, low, and mysterious, so strange they called it the bloop. Its frequency was consistent with a biological origin, yet no known marine animal could produce such a massive sound. Later, it was likely linked to icequakes, massive cracking in Antarctic ice shelves, but for years it captured imaginations as a possible voice of something unknown, still echoing through ocean myths and mystery. 2. 11. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, support about 25% of all marine life. Yet they cover less than 1% of the ocean floor. Made of tiny coral polyps working together, these living structures take centuries to build and are so sensitive, even a few degrees of warming can lead to bleaching, where the coral loses its color and its strength. Despite their fragility, reefs protect coastlines from erosion and storm surge, and provide food and income for over 500 million people worldwide. They are ancient, intricate, and deeply connected to life above and below the waves. 12. The sperm whale holds the record for the loudest biological sound ever recorded. Clicking through echolocation, it can produce bursts of sound up to 230 decibels, louder than a jet engine. These clicks help it find prey in total darkness, navigating the deep sea by sound alone. And when diving, a sperm whale can plunge more than 3,000 meters and hold its breath for over an hour, exploring the midnight zone with no light but its own perception. 13. Salt in the ocean comes from rocks on land. Rainwater, slightly acidic from dissolved carbon dioxide, breaks down minerals in rock and carries ions like sodium and chloride into rivers, which eventually flow into the sea. Over millions of years, the ocean has accumulated these dissolved salts. On average, seawater contains about 3.5% salt, roughly 35 grams per litre. It's the ancient memory of Earth's geology, dissolved in every wave. 14. There's an entire ecosystem floating in the Sargasso Sea, a region of the North Atlantic bounded by ocean currents instead of land. It's filled with golden-brown seaweed called sargassum, which floats freely on the surface and forms vast mats. Within it, baby sea turtles, seahorses, eels, and hundreds of fish species find food, shelter, and warmth. The Sargasso is one of the only seas without shores, an island of life drifting in the blue. 15. The ocean has its own layers, like the atmosphere, but upside down. The surface layer, warmed by the sun, is known as the epipelagic zone. Below that is the thermocline, where temperature drops rapidly, and then the dark, cold mesopelagic zone, also called the twilight zone. Go deeper and you enter the bathypelagic, abyssopelagic and hadal zones, each darker, colder and stranger than the last. Only a tiny fraction of these depths have ever been explored by humans. 16. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest of the world's 5 oceans, but it holds secrets few have seen. Each winter its surface freezes into a shifting mosaic of sea ice, some of which survives through the summer. Beneath the ice, life continues. Beluga whales sing beneath the floes, narwhals pass silently through narrow leads, and algae bloom on the underside of the ice itself. In the coldest place on Earth, the ocean still breathes. 17. The Pacific Ocean is the largest of the 5 oceans, wider than the Moon, stretching over 63 million square miles. It's so vast that it touches the coasts of 5 continents and holds more water than all land on Earth combined. In its depths lies the Ring of Fire, a chain of undersea volcanoes and trenches where tectonic plates meet, quake and shift. Its power shapes continents, fuels earthquakes and forms island, yet above it the water drifts as softly as breath. 18. Mangrove forests grow in coastal zones where land meets sea and roots meet tide. Their tangled root systems stabilize shorelines, prevent erosion, and act as nurseries for fish, crabs and shrimp. Mangroves also trap carbon, up to 10 times more efficiently than rainforest, helping to buffer our changing climate. They breathe in salt water and release oxygen, a living bridge between land and ocean. 19. Some deep-sea creatures, like the fang-toothed fish, look monstrous but are surprisingly small, often no longer than a human hand. In the deep ocean where light never reaches, evolution favors strange forms, huge eyes, glowing lures, extendable jaws. The environment is cold, high pressure and low in food, yet life still thrives. The deeper you go, the stranger it gets, and the more it reminds us how much we have yet to discover. 20. There are underwater lakes and rivers at the bottom of the ocean. In certain places, especially in the Gulf of Mexico, dense salt water seeps from beneath the sea floor, forming pools that don't mix with surrounding seawater. These brine pools have distinct shorelines and can even have currents and waves. Some are toxic, but even there, extremophile life forms like tube worms and bacteria make a home, a lake beneath the sea. 21. The ocean is never truly still. Even in the calmest moments, it moves with tides, caused not only by the moon but also the sun. As gravitational forces pull on Earth's waters, tides rise and fall in gentle rhythms. Some places experience 2 high and 2 low tides each day, others have just one. This quiet, invisible dance has been happening for billions of years, long before we had words to measure time. 22. Sound travels faster in water than in air, nearly 5 times faster. In the deep ocean, sound can travel incredible distances thanks to a phenomenon called the SOFAR channel, a horizontal layer of water where sound waves are trapped and can move without losing strength. Whales likely use this natural corridor to communicate across entire ocean basins, their calls echoing through water that may never see sunlight. 23. The deepest known living fish was discovered at nearly 27,000 feet in the Mariana Trench. It's a species of snailfish, translucent, boneless, and no larger than your hand. To survive the intense pressure, it has no swim bladder, and its body is made of gelatinous tissue. It drifts slowly through the dark, a fragile reminder that life finds a way, even in the most crushing depths. 24. Sea otters use tools, one of the few animals in the ocean known to do so. They place a rock on their bellies and crack open sea urchins or clams with it while floating on their backs. To keep from drifting away while they sleep, they wrap themselves in kelp, anchoring to the forest beneath them like a boat tied to a dock. 25. The ocean floor is home to hydrothermal vents, cracks in the seafloor that release superheated, mineral-rich water from Earth's crust. Though the surrounding ocean is near freezing, the fluid in these vents can reach temperatures over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, 370 degrees Celsius. Here, entire ecosystems thrive without sunlight, relying instead on chemosynthesis, where microbes convert chemicals into energy. It's proof that life doesn't always need light. Sometimes heat and chemistry are enough. 26. Some sea cucumbers can eject their internal organs when threatened. It's called evisceration, an extreme but effective way to distract predators. In time, they grow everything back. These quiet scavengers slowly crawl the seafloor, recycling nutrients and keeping the ocean clean, their strange biology wrapped in soft, rubbery silence. 27. Underwater volcanoes, known as submarine volcanoes, are more common than those on land. In fact, most of Earth's volcanic activity happens beneath the ocean's surface, along mid-ocean ridges and tectonic boundaries. Some eruptions go unnoticed, hidden beneath miles of water, but others create entire islands like Iceland and parts of Hawaii. The ocean floor is not fixed, it's alive, reshaping itself slowly and endlessly. 28. The largest migration on Earth happens every single night. Underwater, it's called diel vertical migration. As the sun sets, billions of tiny organisms, zooplankton, fish, squid, rise from the deep to feed in the upper layers. Then before dawn they descend again, hiding in the safety of darkness. It's a daily cycle older than civilization, and it happens all around the globe every single night. 29. Seahorses are one of the few animal species where the male carries the babies. The female transfers her eggs into a pouch on the male's belly, where he fertilizes and protects them until they hatch. When the time comes, he gives birth, sometimes to hundreds of tiny, fully formed seahorses. They drift away on the current, no bigger than a grain of rice, carried by waves, guided by chance. 30. Beneath Antarctica, there are more than 400 known subglacial lakes, hidden pockets of water trapped beneath miles of ice. Some have been sealed off from the surface for millions of years and may hold microbial life completely cut off from sunlight or air. Scientists drill carefully, keeping everything sterile, to learn how life might survive in extreme environments. Not just on Earth, but maybe one day on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus. 31. Humpback whales are known for their elaborate songs, sequences of moans, cries and howls that can last for hours. Only males sing, and they all sing the same evolving melody within a population. These songs travel for great distances underwater, changing slightly over time, like a cultural rhythm passed through generations. No one fully knows why they sing, but the ocean listens. 32. The Great Barrier Reef, off the coast of Australia, is the largest coral reef system in the world. It spans more than 2,300 kilometers and is made up of nearly 3,000 individual reefs and 900 islands. It's the only living structure visible from space, alive with fish, turtles, mollusks, sharks, and microscopic life. Corals build it slowly, millimeter by millimeter, over thousands of years. A living cathedral growing beneath the waves. 33. There's a layer in the ocean called the thermocline. It's a barrier between warm surface waters and the cold, dark depths. Temperature drops rapidly across this layer, creating a sharp thermal gradient. Many fish, like tuna and swordfish, dive through it to hunt, but they don't stay long. The deeper waters hold less oxygen, and the cold reminds them of their limits. 34. Dolphins sleep with only half their brain at a time. The other half stays awake, keeping them breathing and alert to danger. They float at the surface or slowly swim in circles, one eye closed, the other open. Their sleep isn't deep, but it's enough. In the ocean, rest must be balanced with awareness. 35. The ocean contains underwater rivers, currents of warm or cold water that flow within the sea itself. These currents, like the Gulf Stream, transport heat from the equator to the poles, shaping weather, rainfall and climate all over the globe. They are invisible, powerful and constant, and without them entire continents would feel entirely different. 36. Icebergs are made of fresh water. They form when chunks of glaciers or ice shelves break off and drift into the sea. Only about 10% of an iceberg is visible above water. The rest remains hidden below, which is where the phrase tip of the iceberg comes from. Some icebergs can be as large as cities, drifting slowly, silently for years. 37. The horseshoe crab is older than the dinosaurs, unchanged for over 450 million years. Despite its name, it isn't a crab at all, but more closely related to spiders and scorpions. Its blue blood contains a unique protein that clots in the presence of bacterial toxins. So accurate, it's used in medicine to test the safety of vaccines and IV fluids. Ancient blood, still saving lives today. 38. Ocean trenches, like the Peru-Chile Trench and the Mariana Trench, are formed at subduction zone, where one tectonic plate slides beneath another and sinks into Earth's mantle. These trenches are the deepest scars on Earth's crust, plunging miles below the sea surface. They're cold, dark, high-pressure environments, yet even there life has adapted. Amphipods, snailfish and bacteria feed on chemical energy, where sunlight has never touched. 39. The sea star or starfish has no brain and no blood. Instead, it uses a water vascular system to move and feed, pumping seawater through its limbs to control movement. Many can regenerate lost arms, and some species can even regrow an entire body from a single severed limb. Their skin is often spiny, their movements slow, but beneath that quiet form is resilience written in every cell. 40. Plastic waste has reached the deepest parts of the ocean. In the Mariana Trench, scientists have found plastic bags and food wrappers 36,000 feet below the surface. Microplastics, tiny, broken-down fragments, have been found in plankton, fish, and even sea salt. Though the ocean feels eternal, it is not immune. Its silence does not mean it cannot be hurt. 41. There's a layer of water in the ocean known as the oxygen minimum zone. It's found between 200 and 1,000 meters below the surface, where oxygen levels drop dramatically due to decaying organic matter sinking from above. Fish and marine creatures that live here have evolved to survive with less oxygen, moving slowly, conserving energy. In this twilight world, silence isn't just peaceful, it's a way to survive. 42. Glowing tides, known as bioluminescent bays, occur in only a few rare places on Earth. Puerto Rico's Mosquito Bay is the brightest. It glows with each stroke of a paddle or movement of a hand, lit by dinoflagellates, microscopic plankton that flash blue-green when disturbed. When the night is still and the water is warm, even a gentle swirl can set the sea shimmering like stars in motion. 43. Sharks have been around for over 400 million years, surviving 5 mass extinctions long before dinosaurs appeared. Their skeletons are made of cartilage, not bone, which makes them lighter and more flexible in the water. Some, like the Greenland shark, can live for centuries, up to 400 years. They carry the slow patience of deep time in every graceful turn. 44. The deep-sea anglerfish is one of the strangest creatures in the ocean. The female carries a glowing lure on her forehead, used to attract prey in the pitch-black deep. The male, by contrast, is tiny, often just a few centimeters long. Once he finds a female, he bites into her body, fuses with her, and lives out the rest of his life as a permanent attachment, a strange kind of union in the loneliest part of the sea. 45. Some waves don't break on shore. They move within the ocean beneath the surface along layers of different water density. These are called internal waves, and they can be hundreds of feet high, spanning vast distances while remaining hidden from sight. They churn the deep, stir nutrients, and shape ecosystems. a secret rhythm under the waves we see. 46. Sea sponges are among the simplest animals on Earth. They have no brain, no heart, no nerves, yet they're alive. Water flows through their porous bodies, bringing in nutrients and carrying away waste. Some species can live for thousands of years, fixed in place, filtering the ocean around them, ancient and immobile like breathing stone. 47. The black smoker is a type of hydrothermal vent found on the seafloor. It gets its name from the plumes of superheated water it releases, blackened with minerals like iron and sulfur. Despite the extreme heat and pressure, entire communities of life thrive nearby. Giant tube worms, clams, shrimp and bacteria that feed on chemical energy instead of sunlight. It's a kind of life that rewrote the rules of biology. 48. In 2012, scientists captured the first ever footage of a giant squid in its natural habitat. The creature was nearly 10 meters long, with eyes the size of basketballs. For centuries, giant squids were thought to be myth, sea monsters from sailors' tales. But they are real and rarely seen, living in the dark mid-waters where mystery still rules. 49. Some sea creatures use camouflage so precise they can become nearly invisible. Cuttlefish, for example, can change not just the color but the texture of their skin, mimicking sand, rocks, coral, even shadows. They use thousands of pigment cells called chromatophores, controlled with astonishing speed. In the stillness of the ocean floor, a cuttlefish can vanish before your eyes. 50. The ocean's surface is not its end. Beneath it lies mountain ranges longer than any on land, trenches deeper than the tallest peaks, rivers that never touch the sky, and creatures that defy imagination. We've explored more of the moon than the ocean floor, and maybe that's part of the reason we keep listening. 51. In the open ocean, flying fish can glide above the surface for distances up to 200 meters. They build speed underwater, then burst into the air using their wing-like fins to escape predators. For a few seconds they leave the sea entirely, soaring across the waves on air and momentum. They don't fly, they flee. But to the eye it looks like magic. 52. The ocean is blue not just because it reflects the sky, but because water absorbs colors at different depths. Red disappears first, then orange, then yellow. Blue wavelengths penetrate the deepest, which is why the deeper you go, the bluer it becomes, until finally even blue fades and only black remains. 53. The cookie-cutter shark, only about 20 inches long, uses suction-cup lips and razor-sharp teeth to carve circular plugs of flesh from whales, dolphins, and even submarines. It lives in deep tropical waters, rising at night to feed. Its body glows, except for a dark patch near its neck that tricks predators into aiming for a false silhouette. In the deep sea, even the smallest creatures can leave a mark. 54. Tsunamis are not traditional waves. They are long, powerful surges caused by undersea earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or landslides. In deep water they may pass unnoticed, just a gentle rise. But as they reach shallower coasts, their energy compresses, rising suddenly, sometimes destructively, reminding us that the ocean holds not just beauty, but force. 55. Some fish, like the clownfish, can change sex. Born male, clownfish live in social hierarchies with one dominant female. If she dies, the largest male changes into a female to take her place. It's not rare in the ocean. Wrasses, groupers, and parrotfish all do it too. In the sea, identity can shift with need and time. 56. The ocean has sounds that never stop. Beyond whale songs and dolphin clicks, there are ambient noises, the crackle of shrimp, the shifting of sand, the groaning of ice, the rumble of distant earthquakes. Even coral reefs hum with the sound of life. To scientists, the sea is not silent, it's alive with voices, most of which we haven't learned to translate. 57. The ocean is Earth's largest carbon sink. It absorbs around 25% of the carbon dioxide we emit each year. Much of that CO2 dissolves into surface waters, where it's taken up by plankton, seaweed and algae. Over time, carbon is transported to the deep ocean where it can remain for centuries. This silent service slows climate change. But as carbon increases, the ocean becomes more acidic, threatening the very life that protects us. 58. A moon jellyfish is 95% water. It has no brain, no heart, and no central nervous system, just a soft pulsating bell and drifting tentacles. Yet it moves, feeds, and even responds to light and touch. It is both ancient and simple, a transparent organism that lives by floating and glowing. 59. Underwater cave systems stretch for miles beneath coastal regions like the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. These caves, known as cenotes, are filled with fresh water and sometimes connected to the sea. Inside, divers have found fossils, artifacts, and preserved air bubbles thousands of years old. They are part geology, part time capsule, and among the most fragile and mysterious ecosystems on Earth. 66. There are more historic shipwrecks on the ocean floor than there are stars visible in the night sky. Estimates suggest over 3 million shipwrecks lie beneath the waves, from ancient trading vessels to modern warships. Some are buried in silt, others covered in coral, slowly turning into reefs, their stories sealed in rust and salt. The sea holds its own kind of library. At 61. The ocean floor is mapped far less thoroughly than the surface of Mars. Only about 25% of the seafloor has been charted with high-resolution sonar. What lies below much of the deep ocean is still unknown, a hidden world of underwater ridges, trenches, volcanoes, and plains that shift over time. In some places, entire mountain ranges remain nameless, unseen, untouched, and quietly waiting our. 62. Crabs communicate using drumming and vibration. Some species tap their pincers on hollow logs or shells to signal territory, while others create patterns of sand to display for mates. They don't use voices, but they build language through rhythm and movement, tiny engineers crafting messages beneath the tide. 63. In the deep sea, gulper eels have massive jaws that can unhinge, allowing them to swallow prey much larger than their own heads. Their stomachs stretch to accommodate sudden, rare meals, an adaptation to living in a place where food is scarce and unpredictable. They swim with thin, whip-like tails glowing at the tip and vanish when disturbed, like a shadow with teeth. 64. The ocean floor isn't flat. It's textured with canyons, ridges, seamounts, and plains larger than continents. One of the largest features is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a chain of mountains that runs down the center of the Atlantic Ocean like a spine. It's a place where new seafloor is born as tectonic plates pull apart, slowly creating new Earth beneath the sea. 65. Whale falls are rare, but beautiful. When a whale dies and sinks to the seafloor, its body becomes an ecosystem. Over time, hundreds of species, crabs, worms, fish, bacteria, colonize the carcass. For years they feed, shelter, and grow in this island of nourishment until only bones remain, and even those host new life. In death, a whale becomes a reef. 66. The ocean's surface is shaped constantly by wind. When the wind is light, capillary waves form, tiny ripples only a few centimeters high. When storms roll in, waves can grow into towering walls of water, but between these extremes are endless states of calm. Swells that move with rhythm, glistening like silk, carrying the memory of distant winds from far away. 67. Some fish, like lanternfish, perform a daily migration of hundreds of meters, rising to the surface at night and retreating into the depths by day. This up and down movement is the largest biomass migration on Earth. Though tiny, they exist in such numbers that satellites can detect the reflection of their collective glow. Beneath the surface, they pulse like a heartbeat. 68. The leatherback sea turtle is the largest of all turtles, growing up to 7 feet long. Unlike other sea turtles, its shell isn't hard. It's leathery and flexible, adapted for deep diving. It can survive in cold waters and dive more than 1,200 meters in search of jellyfish. using its size to hold heat and its lungs to collapse safely under pressure. It is a quiet traveller built for distance. To 69. Waves can travel across entire ocean basins. After a distant storm, swells can journey for thousands of miles long after the wind has stopped. These waves are smooth, rounded and steady, rolling in sets that reach far off shores like echoes of weather gone by. They arrive not as warnings, but as reminders. 70. When icebergs melt, they release ancient air. Some of that air has been trapped for thousands of years, preserved in bubbles inside compacted snow. As the ice dissolves into seawater, it exhales the breath of long-gone climates. Each drop carries a record of the Earth's past, written in water, frozen in time. 71. Some of the smallest creatures in the ocean glow with the brightest light. Dinoflagellates, single-celled plankton, emit flashes of bioluminescence when disturbed. When enough of them gather, the sea itself begins to shimmer. Waves sparkle, footprints glow, even swimming fish leave blue trails behind them. It's not magic, it's biology, but it feels like stars have fallen into the sea. 72. The Arctic Ocean is surrounded by land, while the Antarctic is a continent surrounded by ocean. This difference shapes the ice, the currents, the seasons, and the life that depends on them. Arctic sea ice shrinks and grows with each year, while Antarctica's ice shelves hold fresh water locked in place for millennia. Both are changing rapidly, melting into stories scientists are only beginning to understand. 73. The mola or ocean sunfish is the heaviest bony fish in the world. It can weigh over 2,000 kilograms, and yet it moves with almost comical grace, its flattened body drifting near the surface like a living coin. It feeds on jellyfish and often basks in sunlight after deep dives. When it breaches, its splash sounds like thunder, but most of the time it floats like a quiet thought. 74. There is a layer of the ocean called the twilight zone between 200 and 1,000 meters deep. Here, sunlight fades into shadow, just enough light to see, but never clearly. Fish and squid here often glow, using bioluminescence to lure prey or communicate in darkness. It is quiet, strange, and full of mysteries. A place where the light never quite reaches and never quite leaves. 75. In 2020, researchers discovered a coral reef taller than the Empire State Building. It stands over 500 meters high, located off the coast of Australia's Cape York Peninsula. It had never been mapped before. Even now, vast underwater structures remain unknown, waiting in the dark, growing slowly, silently, unseen by human eyes for centuries. 76. Some squids can launch themselves out of the water and glide through the air like flying fish. They shoot water through a siphon, gaining enough force to break the surface, then spread their fins like wings and soar up to 30 meters. They travel in silence, flashing blue and silver, leaving only a ripple where they once were. 77. Pumice stones can float on water because they form from lava that cools with trapped gas bubbles. Sometimes after an undersea volcanic eruption, entire rafts of pumice drift across the ocean. They can carry barnacles, seaweed, and tiny marine life with them, spreading species across distances they could never swim alone. Even volcanic rock becomes a vessel. 78. Sea snakes breathe air, but they can stay submerged for up to 2 hours. Some species even absorb oxygen through their skin while underwater. They live in warm tropical waters and have paddle-like tails to swim with grace. Highly venomous, yet rarely aggressive, they pass beneath the waves in coils of calm. 79. The ocean contains vast gyres, large systems of circulating currents that rotate like slow-motion whirlpools. There are 5 major gyres: North and South Pacific, North and South Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean Gyre. They shape climate, move heat, and also trap floating debris. In the center of one, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch spins slowly, a reminder that even trash has a tide. 80. The sea isn't just a body of water, it's a memory of rain, of ice, of ancient rivers and vanished storms. Every droplet has cycled through air, earth and life again and again. To touch the ocean is to touch something that has seen the beginning and is still moving forward endlessly. 81. Sailors once called the ocean the doldrums when winds died near the equator. In this still windless region, the intertropical convergence zone, the air rises, clouds build, and weather can swing from calm to storm in moments. Ships would sit motionless for days, waiting. Even now, the ocean has places where movement slows to a whisper. 82. Some species of fish, like parrotfish, sleep wrapped in a protective mucus cocoon. Before resting on the sea floor, they secrete a clear, jelly-like bubble that surrounds their body. This coating masks their scent from predators and blocks parasites. It's fragile, invisible in the water, but for the fish, it's a soft, living shield. 83. At hydrothermal vents, bacteria live not off sunlight but chemistry. They convert hydrogen sulfide, released from Earth's crust, into energy. These microbes form the base of entire food chains, supporting tube worms, clams and vent shrimp. In these deep, sunless ecosystems, life rewrites its own rules. Even in darkness, something always finds a way to grow. 84. There are underwater canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon. The Monterey Canyon, off the coast of California, drops over 3,600 meters beneath the waves. It's shaped by ancient rivers and ongoing landslides, and though it lies just offshore, its walls are steep, cold, and little explored. It is a world within a world, hidden just below the surface. 85. Some coral reefs can grow fast after damage, but only under the right conditions. Healthy reefs can expand by a few centimeters per year, building limestone skeletons that stack up over time, but when waters warm too quickly or become too acidic, corals bleach, starve and die, leaving behind empty, colorless stone. Reefs are strong, but they are not invincible. 86. The narwhal's tusk is actually a tooth, a spiraled, sensitive structure that can grow up to 10 feet long. It's filled with millions of nerve endings and may help sense temperature, pressure or movement in the water. Only some males grow one, and rarely two. They don't use it to fight, they use it to feel. 87. Photic zones, sunlit layers of the sea, extend only about 200 meters deep. Beyond that, photosynthesis stops and the world turns dark. This line marks a boundary between two kinds of life, those who depend on light and those who have adapted to live without it. Where the sun fades, other forms of energy take its place. And 88. In the South Pacific, there's an area called the White Shark Cafe. It's a mysterious mid-ocean zone where great white sharks gather each year. Scientists still don't know exactly why, perhaps to feed or breed or simply roam. The sharks travel thousands of miles to get there, drawn by instincts older than memory. 89. The ocean floor is slowly spreading apart. At mid-ocean ridges, molten rock rises to the surface, forming new crust. This process, called seafloor spreading, moves continents ever so slightly over time. Your footsteps on the beach may rest on rock that was once deep beneath the sea, and one day maybe again. 90. The ocean reflects the sky, but also holds its own color. Sunlight scatters. Blue penetrates deepest, and particles in the water shift the shade. Turquoise near coral, dark cobalt in the open sea, but sometimes it turns green or silver or even red, reminding us that the sea isn't one thing. It is many. 91. The word ocean comes from the Greek okeanos, which once referred to a great encircling river that surrounded the known world. Ancient sailors imagined it as a boundary, something vast, unknowable, and filled with monsters. But the monsters faded and the maps expanded, and what remained was wonder. 92. A whale's fluke, its tail, has a pattern as unique as a human fingerprint. Researchers photograph them to track migration, health and family lineage. Each time a whale dives, it lifts the fluke skyward, a quiet mark of presence before slipping below. We recognize them not by their sound or size, but by the shape they leave behind. 93. There are cold seeps on the ocean floor, places where methane and hydrogen sulfide seep from below the crust. Like hydrothermal vents, they host strange ecosystems, tube worms, mussels and bacteria that live off chemical energy. These oases exist in total darkness, often miles from any other life. The more we look, the more we find life where we least expected it. 94. Some fish communicate using electricity. Electric rays and knife fish emit weak electrical pulses, which they use to navigate, locate prey, or even speak to each other. In murky waters where light can't guide them, they've evolved a sixth sense, one that listens in currents and pulses. 95. The ocean's currents don't just move water, they move heat, nutrients, salt and life itself. Larvae drift for weeks before settling. Coral polyps ride currents until they find a place to grow. Even seaweed can cross oceans on the tide. The ocean connects islands, continents and species, not by force, but by flow. 96. Sperm whales sleep vertically. They gather in small groups, hang motionless in the water, their heads pointed upward, their bodies swaying in sync. They remain like this for minutes, silent, floating somewhere between waking and dream. If you swam past, you might think they were statues. 97. The sea has no edge. It meets the sky in a horizon that moves with you, always distant, always unreachable. You can sail toward it forever and never arrive. But maybe the point isn't to reach it, just to watch it shimmer. 98. When raindrops fall on the ocean, they don't just disappear. They join the cycle, evaporated from sea, carried by wind, returned again as rain. Each drop may rise and fall 1,000 times in its life. Even the water beneath your boat may once have floated in the clouds. 99. The ocean doesn't keep time like we do. It moves in tides, in seasons, in deep geological rhythms that stretch across millennia. A wave may reach the shore today that began as wind over water years ago. It is timeless and yet always changing. 100. The ocean is vast, but so are you. You carry it in your cells, in your breath, in your blood. Its salt is your salt, its silence, your stillness. And when you listen closely, really closely, you'll find that the ocean never left you. It's always been there, waiting. Surprise. If you've made it this far, we have something extra for you. 100 facts may have been enough for most, but not for you. And since you're still here, we'll keep going so you can stay drifting and fall asleep a little slower. 101. Some whales can dive more than a mile deep. The Cuvier's beaked whale holds the record, diving to nearly 3,000 meters and staying submerged for over 3 hours. It slips into the darkness silently without splash or ripple, returning only when it's ready to breathe again. 102. In the ocean, camouflage is an art form. The mimic octopus can impersonate lionfish, sea snakes and flatfish, altering not just color but shape and movement. It doesn't just blend in, it becomes something else entirely. 103. There are underwater waterfalls. In places like the Denmark Strait, cold, dense water flows beneath warmer water, tumbling downward like an invisible cascade. These subsurface waterfalls can be taller than any on land, moving millions of cubic meters of water every second, hidden from sight but always in motion. 104. Starfish have eyes at the end of each arm. They aren't eyes like ours, just simple, light-sensitive spots, but enough to sense dark and light, enough to find food, enough to stay safe. 5 limbs, 5 senses of direction. 105. In polar waters there are ice fish with antifreeze proteins in their blood. These proteins keep their bodily fluids from freezing in sub-zero temperatures. Their blood is pale, sometimes even clear, and flows slowly, quietly, like the ice they live in. 106. There are jellyfish that are essentially immortal. Turritopsis dorni, when injured or aging, can revert to its polyp stage, starting its life cycle again. It doesn't always survive, but in theory it could live forever. 107. Not all waves are caused by wind. Tsunamis, tides, underwater landslides, and even passing ships can generate waves that ripple for miles. Some are only a few inches high but circle the globe. Even the smallest pulse of movement can go far. 108. The sound of the ocean has been recorded by satellites. While they can't hear sound in the traditional way, they detect surface vibrations and wave patterns caused by wind and storms. The ocean sings a song that's visible from space. 109. Many deep-sea creatures are red, not for display but for invisibility. In the deep ocean, red light doesn't reach, so red appears black. It's a perfect cloak in a world without sunlight. 110. There are lakes of brine on the ocean floor, so dense with salt that they don't mix with surrounding water. Their edges form shorelines. Their waves ripple inside other waves. A sea within a sea. 111. Some species of pufferfish can inflate to over twice their normal size, filling their stomachs with water or air to appear larger to predators. They also contain a powerful toxin called tetrodotoxin, enough to be deadly in tiny doses, but most of the time they just drift. Round, quiet, balloon-like creatures of calm. 112. Some crabs decorate their shells with living camouflage, attaching seaweed, sponges or anemones to their backs. This not only hides them, but sometimes protects them from predators with poison or sting. They are walking collages, tiny designers of their own defense. 113. A group of jellyfish is called a smack. A group of dolphins, a pod, whales, a school, a gam, or sometimes at a celebration. And fish, a shoal when swimming loosely, a school when swimming in unison. Even in the sea, names gather like ripples. 114. Sea cucumbers breathe through their rear ends. They draw water in through a cloacal opening, circulating it over internal respiratory trees. Strange, yes, but efficient. And in the sea, efficiency matters more than elegance. 115. Some underwater caves are filled with hydrogen sulfide. These toxic layers form when decomposing organic matter releases gas in still, enclosed spaces. Divers who enter must carry their own air, gliding past ghostly trees and silent roots in black water. An alien world beneath our own. 116. Eelgrass beds sway gently in coastal shallows. These underwater meadows trap sediment, provide shelter for young fish, and absorb carbon faster than most forests. They don't make a sound, but they help the ocean breathe. 117. Orcas, also known as killer whales, are the ocean's apex predators. They hunt in groups, using coordinated tactics and even vocal cues to trap fish or flip ice floes to dislodge seals. They pass these hunting techniques down from generation to generation, like stories told in movement. 118. Some coral reefs spawn all at once. On certain nights of the year, timed by moonlight and temperature, they release clouds of eggs and sperm into the sea in synchronized waves. The water turns milky, the currents carry life, and for a few hours the reef breathes out. 119. The blobfish, once called the world's ugliest animal, actually looks quite normal under pressure. At deep sea levels, its jelly-like body is supported by immense water pressure. Only when brought to the surface does it sag and melt. It's not ugly, just out of its element. 120. And finally, the ocean connects every coastline on Earth. It laps against polar ice and sunlit sand, touches cities, caves, ships and islands. No matter where you are, it is never far. And now it's here, still, quiet, and waiting with you. 121. The ocean's salinity isn't the same everywhere. It's highest in warm, dry regions where evaporation exceeds rainfall, like the Red Sea. and it's lowest near river mouths or melting glaciers where fresh water dilutes the salt. Salinity shapes density, density shapes currents, and so salt helps steer the sea. 122. Some shrimp can snap their claws so fast they create a bubble of air that collapses with a shock wave. The pistol shrimp's claw can reach over 200 decibels, louder than a gunshot. The resulting burst stuns prey and briefly produces temperatures nearly as hot as the sun, all from a tiny crustacean in a silent corner of the reef. 123. The term blue hole refers to a giant marine sinkhole, vertical caves that plunge into the seafloor. One of the most famous is Belize's Great Blue Hole, over 300 meters across and 125 meters deep. Divers describe it as entering another world, a circular mouth into quiet, dark mystery. 124. Seabirds like albatross can glide for hours without flapping their wings. They use dynamic soaring, dipping between wind layers above the ocean surface to gain lift. Some travel thousands of miles on a single foraging trip, and when they sleep they do it on the wing, the sky and sea below moving together. 125. Many marine animals navigate using Earth's magnetic field. Sea turtles, lobsters, and even some plankton can detect magnetic cues, allowing them to find breeding grounds, feeding areas, or safe migration routes. They follow invisible lines that stretch across the globe, a compass we cannot see, but they've always known. 126. There are places in the ocean where sound bends, not just travels. Due to changes in temperature and pressure, sound waves curve and follow paths you wouldn't expect. This allows some noises, like whale calls or submarine signals, to travel across entire ocean basins. Whispers you heard worlds away. 127. The Portuguese man-o-war looks like a jellyfish, but it's actually a colony, 4 specialized polyps living as one. Its stinging tentacles can extend over 30 feet, trailing silently beneath a gas-filled float. It drifts with the wind, beautiful, painful, delicate, and never truly alone. 128. Some oceanic species live so deep they never see light, but they sense it through bioluminescence. Anglerfish use glowing lures to attract prey. Other fish flash patterns to signal mates or ward off predators. In the dark, light becomes language. A flicker is a sentence. 129. Sharks have an extra sense called electroreception. They detect electric fields produced by the heartbeat and muscle movement of nearby animals. Tiny pores around their snout, called ampullae of Lorenzini, act as built-in electrical sensors. They can hunt in total darkness, guided not by sight or sound, but by energy. 130. The ocean's surface is full of life. Microscopic organisms like plankton float near the top, using sunlight to grow. These tiny drifters feed krill, fish, whales, and indirectly us. They form the base of nearly every food chain in the sea. They are invisible and absolutely essential. 131. Some underwater creatures use ink not just to escape, but to communicate confusion. Octopuses and squid eject a cloud of dark fluid to obscure vision, but some also release a second kind of ink, mucus-rich, shaped like a decoy. Predators attack the ghost while the real creature slips away. In the sea, misdirection can be a form of survival. 132. Seagrasses are flowering plants that grow entirely underwater. They form vast meadows in shallow coastal zones, stabilizing sediment, sheltering marine life, and absorbing more carbon per acre than most forests on land. They don't sway for beauty, they sway because the sea is breathing through them. 133. The abyssal plain lies between 3,000 and 6,000 meters deep, flat, cold, and seemingly empty. It covers more than 50% of the ocean floor, and yet beneath that stillness, tiny organisms live in the sediment, surviving on sinking particles of organic matter, fragments of distant lives falling slowly from above. 134. Some marine worms live in tubes of mucus and sand buried in the sea floor. Others, like the riftia tube worm, live near hydrothermal vents up to 8 feet long without mouths or stomachs. They survive through symbiosis with bacteria inside their bodies, turning chemicals into energy. They're not flashy, but they are complete. 135. The midnight zone of the ocean begins around 1,000 meters deep. Here no sunlight ever reaches. Temperatures hover near freezing and pressure is immense, but life thrives in silence. Jellyfish that pulse like lanterns, eels that curl like ribbon, and creatures that flash light into an eternal night. 136. Some whales stop feeding for months during migration. Humpbacks, for example, store energy in thick blubber during feeding season, then travel thousands of kilometers to breeding grounds without eating. Their journeys are slow, vast, and uninterrupted. Songs carried across whole oceans, fueled by memory. 137. The ocean has underwater avalanches, called turbidity currents. They happen when loose sediment collapses down slopes, triggered by earthquakes, storms, or the weight of its own build-up. These events carve canyons and carry debris for hundreds of miles, silent landslides beneath miles of water. 138. In the open ocean, there's a layer called the deep scattering layer. Each night it rises toward the surface, reflecting sonar like a false ocean floor. Made of millions of fish, squid and plankton, this hidden migration follows the cycle of day and night. Upward in darkness, downward with the dawn. 139. There's a species of fish called the barrel eye, whose transparent head reveals its eyes inside. They face upward, looking through the fish's own forehead, to track prey silhouetted above. It's a strange solution to a simple need, seeing in a place where there is no light. 140. The ocean has no fixed borders, but it is named in pieces. The Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic and Southern, each vast, each shaped by geology, history and current. But together they form one continuous body, a global ocean connecting every shoreline, every sky. 141. Many deep-sea fish have soft bodies. Their flesh is gelatinous, their bones minimal, because in the deep, pressure is constant and movement is slow. They don't need speed or strength, they need silence and time. 142. The sea isn't just water, it's chemistry, a mix of salts, minerals, gases and organic material, constantly changing, swirling and exchanging with the air above. Every wave is a small act of balance, and every droplet contains stories older than land. 143. Some ocean creatures grow old, very old. The Greenland shark may live for over 400 years. Quahog clams have been found to be over 500. They move slowly, age slowly, and witness time in currents and silt. 144. Beneath the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica, scientists drilled 900 meters through solid ice and found life. Tiny amphipods swimming in pitch-black water far from the sun. Even where warmth has not touched in centuries, life was there, waiting. 145. The ocean holds silence, not an absence of sound, but a layering of slow things. The creak of ice, the pop of bubbles, the shift of sand. Listen closely, and you'll hear what isn't loud, but is always there. 146. Some fish have antifreeze in their blood. In polar regions, special proteins bind to ice crystals, stopping them from growing and damaging tissue. It's a quiet armor, one you'll never see, but it keeps life flowing in the coldest places on Earth. 147. The sea spider has no lungs or gills. It absorbs oxygen directly through its legs, which are long, thin, and hollow. Its heart is weak, so it uses its gut to circulate fluids. In the deep, life rewrites what's necessary. 148. The whale pump is a quiet gift to the ocean. When whales feed at depth and return to the surface to breathe, they defecate in sunlit waters, releasing nutrients that fertilize plankton blooms. Whales don't just move through the ocean, they help grow it. 149. The sea reflects not only light but memory, storms, migrations, seasons and tides. Each leaves something behind. It may not speak in words, but it never forgets. 150. And finally, the ocean is not separate from you. Its salt runs in your blood. Its rhythm matches your breath. And even now, as you lie still and listening, it holds you gently, endlessly, like a lullaby beneath the surface of the world. And now, we've reached the end. 150 quiet facts, each one a ripple in this long, slow tide. If you're still listening, maybe your breath is slower, your mind quieter, your body resting in its own still water. Or maybe you're already far away, floating somewhere between thought and dream. That's okay. That's what this was for. If you found peace here, we hope you'll come back to the sounds, to the sea, to the stories whispered through waves. Until then, good night and thank you.